Welcome back to another... Oh, I'm still subscribed to him? Sorry. And this is Slapdash and the Flash, a little show where we like to pit organized religions against each other and see who gives the best tithes and offerings. And for today's faith-based deep cuts, we have Scientology versus Christianity.
I'm back for the...
Now, you may be thinking, these divinities need some type of representation to diplomatically spread the teachings of the respected theological doctrines. And don't worry, these chosen ones have been handpicked by not only Jesus Christ himself, but L. Ron Hubbard. We of course are talking Jesse Gemstone versus Ethan Hunt.
Begin!
So first up on the sacred word of God is Righteous Gemstones Season 4, a show on HBO about a family of televangelists from a megachurch where crazy things always seem to happen. For example, seasons 1, 2, and 3. And this final season sure ain't letting up, as the misadventures of Jesse, Judy, and Kelvin continue with their biggest test of faith yet, their father's love. Life. Which of course includes hugging, kissing, and 69ing. Now, why discuss a random HBO, critically lauded, audience-loved, commercially successful show?
You're Chinese.
Anything McBride does, I will always give some sort of a go-to. And most of his stuff is just pitch perfect, from vice principals to some of your highness.
Everyone in the kingdom wants to suck your dick. No one wants to suck mine!
They all have his unique comedic blend and perspective, and Righteous Gemstones is no exception. And with the announcement that this would be the final season, I of course knew this would be a day one watch, and a great, spectacular send-off. And it was. Kind of. A little no, but mostly yes. Honestly, Season 3 was a better way of seeing these characters off, each of them seemingly letting go of the chips that were on their shoulders. And unfortunately, that was one of the issues with this season. Not enough chips. Usually, each season follows a similar formula with the characters, slowly learning why family matters and the necessity of sticking together towards a mysterious outside threat. And this season didn't change that. However, when we get to that low point and the subsequent
We're back
moment, it didn't feel quite earned or quite as substantial. Obviously, the season was supposed to be Elijah and Amy Lee's send-off, where we have Elijah wanting to pursue his dead wife's friend romantically. But this plot, as the season's main plot, was a mistake. It's just a bit boring and repetitive, with a lot of it just boiling down to,
oh no, daddy's kissing another girl. I don't like that.
Actually, that's okay.
We forgive him. Actually, no we don't.
But actually, yeah, we do.
I swear to God, that had to have happened like 10 times this season. Humor is subjective, except it's not. But most of the humor revolved around that situation, and that sucked.
I liked it.
It also left the subplots like Top Christ Follower of the Year and Teen Gist with less screen time, which is a real shame.
Yes, at a time.
Still, at least they had more to do than the rest of the cast. The reintroduction episode had Jesse ascending to the heavens on his jetpack, paralleling the Icarus parable. Only for his character's arc to be that his prayer pods failed and he was jealous of his son's relationship to his dad.
Stop trying to insert yourself into my son.
Neither of these seemed to go anywhere other than being lightly insecure and then immediately being resolved. Same for Judy, who was jealous of a monkey for a single episode until they got rid of the monkey and then got the monkey back, which is a real shame because that plot is tied to Best Girl, whose character is literally handicapped, who proceeds to be a whiny wheelchair-wielding bitch.
I don't want pity. Shut the fuck up, Hot Wheels.
Until he receives that monkey, whose scenes, let's be honest,
You're washing his asshole?
did steal the show,
Capuchins have a problem with anal leakage.
but were a bit lacking. Just saying, they could have done a bit more with the monkey. All so we could focus on the main plot, which ends up warping the romance of Eli and Laura into a revenge psycho killer stalker story, where we are finally introduced to our main big bad in episode 7 with Laura's ex-husband, Cobb. He's kind of a bit of an autist, because he has this funny little quirk of, kidnapping, raping, torturing, and killing Laura's exes. Which is then resolved in episode 8, immediately after, when he's killed by his own son. Now, on its own, I like the idea of Eli feeling unable to move on from Amy Lee, and eventually not only accepting that he wants to, but honestly deserves to. It's a great, mature payoff for his character. The problem is that the development is directly linked to the overarching plot, which is already overstretched into 7 episodes.
What did you say?
In the previous seasons, right before the interlude, the main story comes to a revelation, twist, or cliffhanger, which causes the audience to question who the antagonist is in a bombastic way. In this season, that narrative beat is a brick through a window, then played as a mysterious, who could it be?
Me and you need to have a talk about my ex.
The problem with that is, of course it's gonna be Michael Rooker. I mean, look at the man. Pure evil. And to the show's credit, it knows that it'll be obvious, which is why they can't actually show him till episode 6 of the 9 episodes. But they still want to have their cake and eat it too, with a mystery to draw intrigue, pretending it could be anyone, resulting in nothing really happening in the main plot till like episode 6 of the season, the interlude, which usually fleshes out the relations between the Gemstones and previously established new characters, recontextualizing the stakes and motivations of everyone involved. But all it does in this one is just say, he's bad. A poor attempt at a payoff. Nothing's really happening this whole time, and it just feels like a retread of the same uninteresting plot points. Season 4 has this odd thing where it makes me think the writers thought that Season 3 would be the last one, and they were struggling to find out what to do next without eviscerating the character development of the Gemstones. All this to say, it's not that bad though. There's a ton of shit in this season that's absolutely fantastic and enjoyable in traditional
Gemstone fashion.
The prologue was phenomenal, as well as the interlude, both the biggest standouts of the season by far. Sean William Scott also played a really excellent menacing character, and the finale itself was also extremely well done, with the main characters being shot yet still bickering with each other in classic Gemstone fashion, and even finally taking down the main bad guy with the help of the monkey.
I think he just grazed me. No, dog. That's a solid hit.
Praying over him in the same vein as the prologue, bringing it all together in a very satisfying way.
Amen.
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 Like I said, lots of love. It's good. I just kind of wish they shaved off a single episode and gave him an extra epilogue, instead of ending the season's main plot in the finale as well, as it's the final chance we're going to see him, so I just think it would have been nice. But speaking of final, let's talk about Final Destinations, box office competition, Mission Impossible 8, aka Dead Reckoning Part 2, aka Final Reckoning, aka Mission Impossible, The Last One. Mission Impossible is one of my favorite series, bar none. It's better than 90% of the action out there and has had me on the edge of my seat more times than I can remember. Tom Cruise and company always deliver a new and exciting, fun time at the movies, whether that be a fantastic or bad movie. And this movie, sorry to say, is not breaking his hot streak and converted me to a firm acolyte of Xenu, who I believe is a good guy.
Why would I want to join your cult if you're not even very nice?
Anyways, yes, I did like this movie. A somewhat messy, somewhat solid, somewhat conclusion to a somewhat franchise. But I'll be fair, here's my disclaimer, guys. I'm always gonna love these movies. Yes, this movie definitely does have issues. For example, the entire first hour is spent on not only flashbacks, but exposition. And oh my god, that can get a bit grating. If you didn't know, originally this was supposed to be a part 2, but part 1, due to Barbenheimer, didn't deliver what they were hoping for in box office, which seems to be a point of issue for the film's director, Christopher McQuarrie.
Barbenheimer, and just blame it on that.
Right.
We did not factor that into our thinking. We looked at the film.
Who took that as the audience being lukewarm on the previous film. So they decided to break from the plan and go on a route that was supposed to be a finale and its own Mission Impossible, and gave us this film, which to me is the biggest culprit as why this film is kind of messy. The film was also supposed to originally conclude Dead Reckoning, but instead was rewritten to be a more solo movie and also a finale to the franchise.
But there was so much distance on the movie, it gave us the permission we needed to just let Dead Reckoning go and make this a standalone movie.
And also a continuation of Dead Reckoning. So we have 3 movies all taking turns at the wheel and sometimes crashing a little bit. Maybe scraping the back of the car, maybe scraping the side of the car, you know. Part 1 should be the exposition movie. But now, since they had to reroute, we need new exposition tied to a new movie with the same returning characters. All of them are there and doing their job. And for the most part, the job they're doing is important, like stopping a bomb or saving a citizen. But other times, their job is to hold a flashlight steady. The connective tissue also resulted in us having flashbacks and 3 callbacks to the rest of the franchise. Each callback had varying degrees of success, with the first one being the knife, and I actually enjoyed that. It felt like a natural, unexpected link to the past, one without being too on the nose. Having a familiar face return as a new character.
I want him manning a radar tower in Alaska by the end of the day.
And sure, his screen time didn't offer much, but it was kinda neat. The second is Shea Wiggum's character being rewritten to become MI1's antagonist son.
Just exactly when he knew is something of a question.
Which I thought was an interesting setup, but unfortunately had an unearned payoff, if you ask me.
I don't care about him, hon! I want you!
Things I wanna say to you.
And the final one was The Rabbit Foot, a connection to MI3. J.J. Abrams is rightly criticized for his mystery box style of writing, and the plot point in this movie was a nice way to subvert that. The problem is, it's extremely unnecessary and felt like glue that was added to something that was already held together fine, but they said,
Oh, hey, you see this glue here? It's holding it together, see? That's why I put more glue so you can see the glue.
See?
which is also my issue with the flashbacks. I don't hate them quite as much as most people did, and know they are there as a love letter to the franchise / to farm sentimentality from people, but I am not a moron. My brain is retardation free in terms of Mission Impossible. Obviously, Mission Impossible 8 is for boomers with early onset dementia, but by God, it would have been nice to not have them. Again, all this to say, I still do enjoy the movie, and for me, it's at least an improvement on MI7, and think this one will probably age better than what most people think it will. And I'll probably have more to say in a future video, so be on the lookout for that. But for now, that's all I got. That does, however, bring us to the end of the video, which does ask the question,
Who won? Who next? Who decides?